Welcome to our latest adventure. Today we explore Hildebrand, Agent of Inquiry, from A Realm Reborn, Part 2.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Eorzean Archons. I'm FaZe.
And I'm Catherine.
This video will cover the Hildebrand, Agent of Inquiry quests up to the Dragon's Neck trial.
There will be no spoilers in this video after the A Realm Reborn expansion.
Remember to subscribe and click the bell icon if you'd like to be notified of future videos.
Let's get started. Impossible that Hildebrand is still alive and believed himself to be a zombie at that. The man rose from the very grave.
Why, it's elementary, my dear Watson. When you've eliminated all which is impossible, then whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
Okay, Sherlock. Well, it seems as though Gilgamesh wasn't the real thief we were looking for, but it was the man of 1,000 faces all along. We lost the treaty blade in the end.
There is nothing more deceptive than an obvious fact.
Sure. I think Ellie actually has a new lead for us based on the clue left for us of the Lapis Maiden.
Come, the game is afoot. Sounds like we're off on another adventure.
We meet up with Ellie, who believes she has found the Lapis Maiden. The girl's name is Arabella, daughter of Master Gugarimo, a prominent member of the East Eldinar Trading Company. She's rich and supposedly pretty. It's hard to say if she is pretty though, as no one has actually seen her since her father never lets her leave the estate. Except it would seem to marry her off to some rich guy. They're going to announce the engagement at Costa del Sol, which appears to be the perfect chance for our thief to strike. The thief's card stated he wanted to steal the maiden's virtue. What could that mean?
Fear not, maiden, I shall protect you. This clearly seems to be a marriage of convenience. Mayhaps the maiden should fall in love with me instead.
You sure you want to be with someone who has had little to no social interaction her entire life?
Cat, she's pretty and rich. Stop talking nonsense. We head out to Costa del Sol to meet with the father of the bride, Master Gugarimo. He does not want us around and ensures us that his daughter is not in any danger. He hired the Brass Blades, who look like low-level punks, to protect his daughter. The best money can buy, he claims. Even Briarden stops by to make fun of their outfits as well. He then offers to catch the thief before the banquet and do it for free. Hard to say no to that. Gugarimo agrees, but warns us that he better not disturb the banquet.
Ellie asks Briarden how he can be so confident when he failed last time. Briarden concludes that the thief is the one who is overconfident and likely to use the same methods that he used to steal the treaty blade. The thief is likely already among us, assuming someone's identity. He suspects a lot of people, even of different races. Not sure how that would be possible, but sure. Briarden then tells us that we must begin questioning the suspects and report back to him at once. Wait a minute, we don't work for you. I'm not even sure I'd say we work for Hildebrand.
Briarden greets Hildebrand with a punch, and Hildebrand states he's only doing some preliminary undercover investigative work. He's surprised that we could see through his disguise, but have no fear, Hildebrand will defend the maiden's honor as only a Monderville man can. Hildebrand asks Briarden to put aside their differences and assist him in this case. A maiden's very life could be at stake. Briarden, of course, tells Hildebrand that he may assist him by keeping watch over the suspects. Briarden then heads off to investigate something and asks we assist him.
We follow Briarden, who goes on to explain that it was not simply that the thief looked exactly like Lady Dorilda, but also acted exactly like her as well. Such a feat cannot be accomplished by magical trickery alone. They must study their targets very closely in disguise. Briarden thinks that it may be one of the brass blades, and it appears that there was a brass blade that has not been seen recently. We need to find out who the missing brass blade was assigned to protect so we can find out who the thief was watching.
We go out looking for the missing brass blade and find a naked man tied up by the shore. We ask him what happened, but all he can remember is arriving on Costa del Sol, taking a tour of the area, and getting hit on the head. Turns out he was to guard Morgaunt, father of the groom in Yaltonoto, a Lalafell gentleman. He was also to speak with the steward, Lewenhart. Briarden thanks the man in his usual condescending way and asks we go ahead of him and check on Hildebrand.
We meet up with Hildebrand and tell him what we know so far. He declares that he shall have the thief in shackles before Briarden returns. He runs off to question Morgaunt with a web of words that will lead to his inevitable demise, or so Hildebrand claims. In typical Hildebrand fashion, he greets Master Gugarimo, the bride's father, thinking him to be engaged to the bride, Miss Arabella.
Maybe we should do the talking instead of just watching events unfold. I can't watch this train wreck.
I'm shocked Morgant, the father of the groom, has even heard of Hildebrand and thinks well of him.
Yeah, and this Vaughn's fellow does not seem worthy of the fair maiden Arabella. I'm sure I would make a much better groom. I mean, all he did was send her a golden necklace. Hildebrand is suspicious of Vaughn's due to his confidence, but declares he's only seeking to earn their trust before confronting Yalto and Lewenhart, who he was suspicious of from the start. We head over to meet with them, and Yalto complains to us that a shipment of his was waylaid recently by the Mandragoras. The Mandragoras are a fearsome lot, and rumor has it that they will not rest until every fruit and vegetable has been freed from captivity. Yalto declares that he must prepare for his speech and heads off.
We talk with Hildebrand, who doesn't believe that there was anything suspicious about that group either. Hildebrand wants to investigate the foodstuffs of which Master Lewenhart spoke of to see if he was telling the truth. He investigates the food crates and finds bombs amongst the coconuts. Turns out they're just Nashu's bombs. She felt the coconuts looked lonely. Oh no, here comes Inspector Briarden. Quick, we'll distract him while you guys hide the bombs.
We head over to intercept Briarden with Ellie, asking to hear all about his latest theories. On the bright side, he falls for the distraction, but then he wishes to discuss the theories over by the crates on the beach. We can't draw him out of the area, and he begins telling us of the 3 suspects he now has. With bombs rolling out of the pile, he tells us that Morgant, Yaltonolto, and Lewenhart are the most probable thieves. Yep, totally listening. To make matters worse, Briarden decides to make a torch from nearby driftwood to keep warm.
Over on the edge of the beach, Hildebrand and Nashu watch the scene unfold. A gust of wind rips out the pages from Nashu's journal, and a page makes its way over to Briarden, who reads it aloud. Everything is proceeding according to my master plan. However, Briarden believes this to be another challenge from the Phantom Thief. He begins reading the other notes on the beach aloud. Give up hope. He of many faces will laugh last. It is not the Lapis Maiden alone that shall come to harm. And the final note. Confounding Inspector Briarden will meet a fiery demise. I swear Nashu leaves out so much context and detail in her notes.
Believing these a threat on his life, Briarden tosses the torch in the air. Ellie pushes him out of the way for fear of the bombs igniting. Hildebrand rushes in to catch the torch, but in a spectacular way misses the first attempt and then somehow catches it on his head. A strange balancing act is interrupted by Nashu sneezing, causing the torch to fall onto the bomb in front of Hildebrand's face.
Briarden thanks Ellie for saving his life, fearing that the explosion was certainly meant for him. Yeah, it was totally the thief. As we all gather around the explosion site, Briarden asks Hildebrand if he has made any progress in finding the fiend who has made this ignorable attempt on his life. With no clear progress, we clean up the mess and focus back on the case.
We visit Lewenhart and tell him his foodstuffs are all charred stuffs. On such short notice, it'll be hard to replace the food in time for the banquet, unless we track down those Mandragoras that stole food earlier. Apparently, they stole rare dragon peppers that are a deep purple in color. Lewenhart warns us of the great dangers these bloodthirsty beasts pose, to which Hildebrand tells us to retrieve the stolen goods with him. We begin our hunt for the Mandragoras by talking with a Yellow Jacket in Limsa Lominsa, who points us in the direction of a fisherman in Alport.
Over in Alport, we find the tiny trader. He tells us that the Mandragoras don't just aim to free the fruits and vegetables from our plates, but they seek revolution. They can be found over in the Isle of Umbra, planting themselves an army. We decide it's best to pluck them out before the harvest.
On the Isle of Umbra, we follow a trail of buds further inland until we find Hildebrand head first in the sand. What a surprise. He claims to have found the leaders beneath the ground. With no warning, 5 Mandragoras jump out of the ground and grow to gigantic proportions. We break out into the most ridiculous scrap fight of all time, chasing vegetables around the beach until every last one is slain and the foodstuffs are recovered. Seeing our work here is done, we tell Hildebrand we'll meet him back in Costa del Sol.
We return back to Lewenhart and hand over the stolen foodstuffs. He's particularly excited to prepare the purple dragon pepper. But what's this? The peppers have changed color. These peppers are blue. Briarden is no fool, however, deducing that under the tint of red goggles, these peppers would indeed look purple. Those hired security guards wore red goggles, meaning this so-called chef is likely our thief. He first saw the peppers under a different disguise. After him.
Our chase brings us down the shoreline where we come across Lewenhart on the ground. Hildebrand comes sprinting in as only a Maundreville man can. Briarden, following behind, attempts to remove the mask from our thief, but Lewenhart wakes up as his hand approaches. Seems this is the real Lewenhart, knocked out by our thief when he was on his way to see Lady Arabella. He explains how a brass blade turned on him in Wineport, but he was able to drive a kitchen knife into the thief's right hand before getting knocked out. At least we now have a clear way to tell our culprit from the crowd. We'll take Leuwenhart back to the estate to check on Miss Arabella, then double back to the event in hopes of identifying the phantom thief, who will no doubt have a new disguise. But little did we know that the thief was already plotting with the Mandragoras in the shadows. Out in Wineport, we find the beautiful Miss Arabella admiring the flowers.
I don't see what all the fuss is about. She's not even that pretty.
How could you spew such lies? My queen is as beautiful as I imagined, and totally loaded with gil.
She's already engaged. You can't just jump into an already arranged marriage.
That can be arranged.
She's already aware of the many-faced thief and of Hildebrand. To that extent, she is grateful to have such a muscular and smart detective on the case.
She must be talking about me. Maybe we should be more involved in this case. I must be the one to save this beautiful woman.
I don't think so. We're only assistants to these inspectors. Arabella then gives us some bittersweet news. She doesn't love Vons. She knows full well that this arranged marriage is to benefit both wealthy families and not about her wishes. But she is willing to go through with it to make her father happy.
We leave Arabella to get prepared for the banquet. Back in Costa del Sol, we check in with Briarden to get the latest on our thief's new identity. For fear of the thief ruining the banquet, Briarden asks Hildebrand to make a distraction, his specialty. We need Arabella to lay low for a while longer until we can draw out the thief. We bring our servant's garb as a disguise and take her dress to Hildebrand. I'm not sure what he wants with this dress, but he assures us that he has a master plan and we can only sit back and watch the show.
We hang out at the food table for a while as the banquet begins. Everyone gathers to celebrate the event, and we listen in as Vons arrives at the ceremony, ready to give his vows. And then they announce the arrival of Arabella. Looks like Hildebrand failed to stop the ceremony.
But love at first sight is not in the air tonight. The lady of the hour is not Arabella at all, but Hildebrand wearing her dress. Vons falls to the floor in shock that his maiden has been replaced. Hildebrand exclaims aloud that he would not put Arabella in any danger until the thief was caught, and to add to it all, he knows the identity of our mystery man. He explains how the many-faced thief is none other than Vons. By his logic, only Arabella's father and steward knows what she looks like. And the reaction from Vons just now is an admission in its own right that Vons knows what Arabella actually looks like. Only the many-faced thief, under the guise of Leuwenhart or her father, could have seen Arabella before this moment.
I'm not too sure about this argument, and the crowd isn't buying it either. Seen as a disturbance to the ceremony, the guards chase off Hildebrand while Vons looks to the crowd and sees Arabella, who was wearing the expensive necklace. He takes her by the hand and escorts her away. This swift motion from Vons is suspicious enough, but gives Briarden a good look at the glove he wears on his right hand. Could he be hiding the mark of a knife wound from earlier? How does Vons know that this is the real Arabella? She was in disguise.
Once a distance from the group, Vons snaps his fingers in the air, and with a puff of smoke, he is revealed to be none other than the man of 1,000 faces, the thief we've been looking for. Hildebrand was right? In his quick change, he nabbed the necklace too. His second snap signals for the Mandragoras to attack, but the sight of Lady Hildebrand scares them all away. No surprise, I'm tempted to run myself. As the guards corner our thief, he teleports in yet another puff of smoke, a clean escape for the thief.
We regroup with the gang to discuss the details. Vons was found bound and gagged in the storage room. As for Arabella, she's actually just happy the ceremony was called off for the time being. She still has to figure out what she really wants for herself. We also learn that the lapis maiden's virtue the thief set out to steal actually refers to the necklace Arabella wore, Azima's virtue. Our only plan now is to wait for the next target of our boastful thief.
Right on cue, a calling card flies past the group and nails a Mandragora in the head. Nashu reads the card out. Made you look. Then yet another card is found on the back of Hildebrand's head, this one reading, "When we next meet, I shall come to claim the victor's spoils." Ready for another chance to catch his attempted murderer, Briarden calls out the man of 1,000 faces.
No surprise he got away. Are those inspectors ever going to catch the thief?
I'm honestly shocked that Hildebrand was right. He might have gotten the thief too if it weren't for those meddling guards getting in the way.
At least we know what the masked thief looks like now. Or maybe we don't, and that was but another mask of many.
Whatever the case, we may need to give more weight to Hildebrand's crazy theories. He seems to be unusually lucky. Let's go see if Ellie has any new leads.
Ellie has a lead for us on the victor's spoils our thief referenced. There is a tourney held at the Ul'dah Coliseum called the Mithril Cup. They say that Master Figus, syndicate member and martial arts enthusiast, will be furnishing the prizes himself.
Eager to learn more, we head over to the Coliseum to meet with Ellie's associate with the Mithril Eye. Ganelin tells us that there is trickery afoot. Contestants are getting mysteriously injured left and right, severely limiting the pool of would-be contestants in the Mithril Cup. Because of such a small pool, the remaining contestants will be competing in a single all-out brawl. Should we want to hear more about the event, we must find Dor Meadow here at the Coliseum.
Over in Dower's office, we hear that everyone's on edge because of recent injuries. We also happen across Hildebrand, Briarden, and Nashu in a head-to-head fight of the inspectors. Victorious in the short bout, Briarden addresses Dower Meadow asking to learn more about the prizes of the tourney. The treasure up for grabs is the Warden's Grace, a ring fitted with the largest sun sphere around. And to keep such a prize safe, an elite regiment of guards known as the Stone Torches has been hired to watch over it night and day. However, Briarden assures that the ring would be safest in his care, but Dower reminds him that no one can be trusted with the man of many faces around. If we want the ring, we'll need to earn it by winning the tournament.
In hopes we'll join the tourney and add to the dwindling number of participants, Dor calls the receptionist. In comes a slobbering octopus? Oh, alongside the lovely Miss Avila. The octopus is named Ultros and is a creature born from a recent experiment with ancient incantations at the Thaumaturge Guild. Thought to be a failed experiment, he was about to be dumped in the desert, but after it proved that it could talk by pleading for its life, they employed him here at the Coliseum. As for Avila, she's a gladiatrix and wields the Tempest Blade.
Hildebrand quickly accepts the challenge of the tourney, while Briarden registers us on his behalf. On the hunt for clues, we head back over to talk with Ganelin to see if he has any new information. He is suspicious of Avila, as quite a few of the competitors were scheduled to fight her when they were injured. He suggests that we go and talk with Raging Rat, who was injured in the preliminary round when matched against Avila.
We find the competitor and ask him how he lost the match. However, he claims he didn't lose because Avila cheated. He calls it some kind of sorcery. Ellie doesn't believe him, but Nashu wonders if it might actually be sorcery, or if she was perhaps assisted by an accomplice. Ellie wonders if it might be a fellow Alamegan refugee. However, Hildebrand believes that Avila and Ultros are a match made in the heavens and are likely accomplices.
Remember when I said we should give more weight to Hildebrand's crazy ideas?
You can't be serious. Avila seemed to hate Ultros.
I don't know. Hildebrand wishes to question Ultros, so off we go in search of it at the Coliseum. We spy Ultros talking with a gladiatrix, but it ends with her yelling and running off. We continue to follow Ultros as he approaches another woman who does the same. Nashu remarks that he looks sad, so we should douse him in butter and put him out of his misery. Ultros' actions make him seem creepy, but Ellie guesses that Ultros may simply like the women, even if they don't seem to return his affections.
Hildebrand laments his suspicions of Ultros, who he now believes is just trying to find love. Ellie suggests that we head back and talk to Dor Meadow to find out where Avila is and follow her around. Hildebrand agrees, but claims the idea as his own. When we speak with Dor Meadow, he tells us that he believes that Avila is drinking with their countrymen over at the Coffer in Coffin.
When we arrive, we very discreetly hide behind a rock so as not to arouse Avila's famed temper. We listen in on Avila talking with fellow Alamegans about winning the prize money to help her people out of poverty. She seems unusually certain of her chances of winning. She leaves them to meet up with her sister at the mine, so we continue to follow her. But what we don't know is that Ultros is also watching us and declares that he will not allow us to steal Avila away. He left explosives on the side of the road to stop us.
Hildebrand stops at the smell of fire sand and asks Nashu if the handcrafted bombs are hers. Ultros is dismayed at his plan being foiled as Hildebrand declares he will remove the explosives so that they don't hurt anyone passing by. The bombs are hurled into the air and land squarely on an unlucky Ultros.
Unaware of the plot against us, we continue to spy on Avila, meeting with her sister. Avila scolds her sister for working too hard with a hurt leg. She assures her sister of her victory and all of the riches her and her sister can have when she wins. The sisters seem to care for each other, but the conversation offers no clues for the investigation.
Suddenly, Nashu hears a noise and Hildebrand goes to investigate. Ultros is hiding around the corner behind a bush and has set a trap for us, the Warriors of Light. Much to his dismay, though, Hildebrand falls face first into his own pitfall trap instead of us. Unaware of the true threat posed, Hildebrand states that he is just inspecting this hole in the ground, and Ellie suggests we head back to the Mithril Cup before we forfeit our match. Ultros, upset at his second attempt being foiled, mistakenly falls into the second trap that he set.
On the way back, we stop because Hildebrand's inspector senses are tingling. He believes a most fearsome adversary is lurking about. Unseen, Ultros schemes in glee that his next plan will not fail. He has a hungry friend, who was just murdered, it would seem, by none other than Godbert, Captain Underpants. Hildebrand spots his father and greets him, believing his presence to be what he sensed earlier. Father and son catch up while Ultros considers what kind of person Godbert and Hildebrand really are.
From above, Gilgamesh appears. He agrees with Ultros that Hildebrand is a worthy rival. Ultros asks Gilgamesh if he's friends with Hildebrand, but he denies it, stating that they're enemies. Ultros rejoices in their shared goal, but Gilgamesh warns of Vay's and Catherine's strength, stating he would surely become seafood if he fought us alone. With that, Gilgamesh must be off, for much to his own confusion, he is a fugitive in these lands. Realizing he can't defeat us alone, Ultros resolves to bring a friend along to face us in the Colosseum. But as he's leaving, Godbert spies him and sees inspiration for his next crafting piece. A foot race ensues, but we all know you can't outrun a Manderville man.
Finally making it back to the Colosseum, we meet up with Hildebrand, who laments that we didn't discover more, but there's no more time as the tournament is about to start. We best continue the investigation on the field of battle. We follow Hildebrand into the Colosseum, who spots Ultros up the stairs. He asks Ultros how he got so bruised up, and we hear strange sounds coming from inside his office. Funga. Ultros is acting very suspiciously. Suddenly, Briarden appears and asks us that we come with him, for he fears that stupidity may be contagious. Well, in that case, maybe you should stay here too, FaZe.
Well, I have been hanging out with you a lot lately. Makes sense it would finally spread to me.
We meet up with Briarden, who asks us if we have made any progress in the investigation.
Well, we learned of Avila's unwavering confidence to win the tournament.
And those failed traps we found along the way probably have something to do with Ultros' bruises and how suspicious he was acting.
Following Hildebrand had us chasing down cheaters, but I don't see us any closer to uncovering the Man of 1,000 Faces. Briarden comes to the same conclusion as us in that Ultros and Avila have teamed up to claim the Mithril Cup and its prize. This lines up with the research he's been doing on Ultros. Ultros is likely using his insider knowledge of the Colosseum to take out potential threats and ensure Avila's victory. There is, however, still the mystery of the Tempest Blade and the strength it gives. Briarden then asks us to go run an errand for him and find some discarded crates. But I thought the tournament was about to start.
Inside the disgusting crates, Briarden finds a very smelly sack that we ask him to put back in the crate. But wait, something is written on the side. Sint got sundries. Briarden believes that this merchant somehow connects with Ultros and suggests that we visit him to learn more. We visit the merchant and drop the smelly sack on his table. He reminds us that he does not accept returns, but seeing the contents of the sack, he asks if Ultros sent us.
They're apparently gold truffles that Ultros has been ordering. While Briarden ponders the reasoning for such a purchase, Hildebrand joins us, sad that Briarden stole us away. Hildy chats up the merchant, telling him all the best ways to roast gold truffles. Finding no more useful information, Briarden suggests we head back as the tournament is about to start. Oh, finally, now it's starting?
Briarden lets us know that he'll be watching Avila in combat to determine her trickery, so we should stay away from her Tempest Blade until then. I think we can handle ourselves in battle, Briarden, but okay, we'll play it safe. We find our Meadows just in time before he starts the tourney without us. Listen, Mr. Meadow, these people are very bossy. We would have been here 10 minutes ago if it was not for them. However, before we begin, he informs us that another contestant has been suddenly injured and can't compete. Instead, Ultros will be taking their place. We let him know that we're ready for battle and head in.
Face to face with our fellow competitors, we take in the cheers of our many fans. Speaking of our many fans, show your support by dropping a like on the video. As we take our positions, Avila and Ultros whisper to each other, clearly scheming an alliance just out of earshot. As the clash begins, the contestants charge at Avila, but we, along with Ultros and Hildebrand, stay back. With a clearly overpowered weapon, she makes short work of the combatants with a fast blade and a circle of scorn. Dang, when did Gladiator get a buff? The crowd cheers for the Alamegan as she points her blade to us. Oh, you're approaching me.
From the sidelines of the fight, Ultros opens up his bag of truffles, only to find that they've been roasted. Not what he was expecting, he looks to Hildebrand, who clearly messed with his truffles. Avila averts her gaze from us for but a moment to see what is going on behind her. Briarden, seeing her pointed glance, cues Dara to open the gate. From the shadows emerges a horrifying monstrosity. The creature known as Typhon enters the battlefield and in a single sneeze is able to throw Hildebrand into the air. The way Hildebrand flew through the air reminds the crowd of how Avila defeated her opponents with the Treaty Blade before. The realization that they've been tricked has the crowd booing her and calling her very offensive names. It's clear that Avila is disqualified for cheating.
Realizing they've been caught, Ultros begs to continue the fight with Typhon and himself going up against us, the Warriors of Light. Seeing as people paid good gil for this, Dower Meadows says sure, he'll give him a show. A battle for the ages in Halitali. Pork and seafood. Not a great combo, but let's cook 'em.
Just be sure not to fall out of the arena. I have a feeling this will be an unusual battle like our fight with Gilgamesh.
Hey look, I'm small and cute. I mean, one of those things is always true, but now I'm miniature.
Alright, enough messing around. Let's win this tournament. We have our good names to defend after all.
Eager to claim our fame and prize, we return to the Colosseum. With all spectators looking on, Dower Meadows presents us with the Warden's Grace. But not all eyes are on us today, for the man of 1,000 faces has his eyes on the prize. From up above, the thief announces his presence, and in a snap, he launches fireworks into the arena. Hildebrand rushes to protect the ring, but is stopped by Gilgamesh entering from even higher above. Apparently, he has a vendetta with us for beating him so bad last time, though it'll be hard to fight without your weapon, Greg. In an ironic twist, Hildebrand steals Gilgamesh's weapon and they begin a chase around the arena.
In all the confusion, the man of 1,000 faces tosses a truffle to the mix, the scent of which causes Typhon to sneeze a whirlwind in our direction. The force launches Ultros and Gilgamesh into the air. It looks like Team Weirdos blasting off again. Along with them flies the ring, right towards our thief. But we mustn't lose hope, for out of the side gate comes the absolute unit Godbert. He knocks Typhon away and grabs his son Hildebrand by the legs. By swinging him around and letting go, Hildebrand launches skyward into the air after the ring. Except Godbert isn't capable of dialing down his strength, and Hildebrand is launched clear out of the arena and into the sky, landing far away from the Colosseum. With no resistance, the man of 1,000 faces catches the Warden's Grace ring, claiming victory.
Though this is not the real ring. The thief dubs this treasure a fake, tossing it down at us. Instead, he found something of potentially greater value earlier, a key. Dower Meadows clearly knows the importance of this key as he calls for the guards, but we're too late. The thief escapes under the cover of an illusionary cherry bomb. From the sidelines, a guard confirms that the second prize, the Ring of Inquiry, has been stolen. This whole tourney was bogus from the beginning. We've been tricked, we've been backstabbed, and we've been quite possibly bamboozled.
While we sort out what exactly just happened, Hildebrand makes his way back into the Colosseum. He passes by a very remorseful Avila, who expresses her regret in cheating. She even forgives Hildebrand for spying on her when he accidentally mentions it. In time, she plans to regain the honor she has lost.
Back on the battlefield, Hildebrand rejoins us in our search for answers. Briarden suspects that the man of 1,000 faces was after the Ring of Inquiry this whole time, since he had the key to the storeroom ahead of acquiring this fake ring. Perhaps he meant to divert our attention, yet still show us that he was capable of stealing whatever he wants. There must be a pattern to the items he's stolen, some motive. The Treaty Blade, Azima's Virtue, the Ring of Inquiry, all relics of history. Godbert, an expert in such craftworks, points out that they were all created in the era of the Beledians. That's it! Hildebrand believes the thief is opening a grand museum! You can't be serious.
All this investigating, and this is what he comes up with? With nothing more than a hunch to piece our clues together, our speculation is interrupted by a mysterious object from above. Another calling card flies in, but this one is much, much bigger than the last. With the slightest breath from Godbert, the card crushes Briarden. Similarly, with the combined sneeze of Nashu and Typhoon, the card flies back over and crushes Hildebrand. 2 inspectors for the price of 1 card. Written on the card is our final message from the man of 1,000 faces. It reads, "I have enjoyed our little game, but all good things must come to an end. I shall claim the 4 sacred treasures, and justice shall be served."
A riddle, perhaps? Remembering an old saying, Godbert says, "Where the 4 treasures of Beladia become one, the wicked shall be judged in the blazing sun." What was thought to be an old fairy tale now becomes a potential reality. And to put weight on the situation, our thief is starting to gain sympathies from the common folk. Stealing from the rich and putting on a good show while doing so seems to be his image. So it's only natural that his final treasure lies with someone on the syndicate, or perhaps even the Sultana herself. Hildebrand once again swears to solve this mystery and defeat the Man of 1,000 Faces once and for all. And yet, from up above, Godbert spies the shady figure. It couldn't possibly be who he thinks it is, could it?
The thief. He's taken our prize and made a mockery of our victory. Our involvement is now required.
Our revenge, it mustn't just register on an emotional level.
First, he steals the treaty blade right from under our noses, an assault of the senses.
Discombobulate.
Indubitably.
Then, he steals the love of my life, and also the Lapis Maiden necklace.
He takes the Ring of Inquiry, needing no disguise to steal his prize, this time around.
And finally, he aims to take an unknown fourth item and complete the 4 sacred treasures.
In summary, justice shall be served. But by who?
Be sure to thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below. Click the bell to be notified of future videos.
What did you enjoy or not enjoy about the Hildebrand Agent of Inquiry quests? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching!